We all have dreams, but dreams by their very nature can be difficult to achieve. That's where Access Credit Union comes in. Whether it's going to college, owning a car, or building your dream home, your local credit union can help you to fulfill your dreams. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome to the Star Sport podcast. My name is Jack McCarran of the Southern Star and I'm joined as always by Star Sport editor Kieran McCarthy. Before we kick things off, I'd just like to give a gentle reminder to our listeners and viewers to please rate, review and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube. The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years. On today's show, we'll be chatting to a man who has made West Cork soccer's most coveted trophy his own in recent years. Johnny Beamish Cup Kelly has got his hands on that most sought after of trophies on no fewer than 4 occasions, including a remarkable 3 in a row. Kelly is currently the Dunmanway Town captain and he even scored a winning goal 2 minutes from time when his side beat Clonakilty 2-1 in last season's decider at Turner's Cross. He's also an integral member of the Dohenys Senior A football panel and their junior hurling team, who earlier this month dethroned defending champions Clonakilty. But Kieran, we're going to kick things off this week with reflections on the performance of Kinsale's John Murphy at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship last weekend. We've been following John's career closely on the podcast and in the Southern Star over the last number of years, but he really announced himself to the mainstream and the professional stage last weekend with an incredible top 10 finish in what was his only 3rd ever PGA European Tour start.
Absolutely superb performance by John Murphy. Like you said, Jack, we've had John on the podcast a couple of times over the last couple of years. We've been following his story and his trajectory, and it's only gone upwards. And we saw it in Scotland the weekend just gone. Like you said, it's there a top 10 finished. So he finished tied for 9th. That earned him a cheque for €81,543. Now that's not a bad day's work at all by any stretch of the imagination. And when you consider that his best payday before that was 3,500 from the Big Green Egg German Challenge on the Challenge Tour, it just shows you the jump that John Murphy made last weekend. But he was so consistent over the entire tournament, to such an extent that he was in the final round pairing last Sunday. He was there with Danny Willett, who actually went on to win the Alfred Dunhill last weekend. And that's the same Danny Willett, who's a Masters champion. And there was John Murphy, a 22-year-old golfer from Kinsale, in just his 3rd European Tour event on that final round pairing. And I was watching it here at home on Sky Sports, and John started so well. He had a couple of birdies early on his final round. And I think at one stage, he was on 14 under, and I think he'd outright second place to himself. And then you're thinking, Jesus, is this going to be one of those magical Sundays where it all works out, where everything falls into line? But unfortunately, he had a double bogey 6 on the par 9 on the 9th, the par 4 9th, and that just knocked him back then. But still, for John Murphy to finish tied for 9th in a big event, it's a huge jump for him. And one of the rewards, as well as obviously the financial reward, which is great, but he's earned an exemption into the Spanish Open in Madrid, which starts off this Thursday. So what an exciting couple of days and weeks for John Murphy.
And of course, Kieran, you mentioned that double bogey that caused him to fall down the leaderboard ever so slightly, but what that showed is how fine the margins are at this level of golf, because he shot 4 under par rounds over the course of the week, which is, as you said, incredible consistency. And then just one poor shot in his final round and he slipped down, but didn't slip down too far. Of course, he still finished tied for 9th, but you just have to wonder what would have happened if he could go back and take that 9th hole tee shot again. But as you said, he was up against a Masters champion on the old course at St Andrews, which is pretty much the home of world golf, and he was not flustered by the occasion at all. He looked cool, calm and collected. He looked like he belonged. He was playing alongside Danny Willett. Ireland's most popular golfer, Shane Lowry, was in the group behind him. So this is the kind of company he's keeping at 23. When he first played on kind of a big global stage, it was the Walker Cup a number of months back, and that was probably the first big time televised event he was involved in, and he excelled on that occasion as well. He was probably GB and Ireland's top performer alongside Kilkenny's Mark Power on that occasion. So it's clear that this is a man who seems to thrive and enjoy the biggest stages possible.
That's exactly it. And I think the biggest positive that he'll probably take from last weekend is he looked right at home on the big stage. Like we mentioned, Danny Willett there, Masters champion, who won it last weekend. Shane Lowry, fresh off his Ryder Cup heroics the weekend before. Tyrrell Hatton was another European Ryder Cup player from Whistling Straits. Tommy Fleetwood as well was in the mix. And all of a sudden then with John Murphy, this 23-year-old Kinsale man, was rubbing shoulders with these top world golf players. But not only that was he rubbing shoulders, but he was actually holding his own. So when he gets a chance at some point in the next couple of weeks to reflect on what he achieved in Scotland, he'll be so proud of, first of his finish, but I think of his performance and the temperament that he showed over those 4 days. So he did 69, 69, 67, 71. Like you said, Jack, that's 4 under par rounds in a big tournament in front of the Sky Sports cameras. It was the biggest stage yet for John Murphy, and he didn't shrink in it. He actually stood up, chest puffed out, and he grew. And I think that's a great sign for what the next couple of weeks, months, years and will hold for him, because he's now a professional golfer. He's left his amateur days behind him. He's now dipped his toes and he's walking as a professional golfer, and that's not easy. What he wants is to get his European Tour card and be back in those events every week, every year. Like he was so close to secure that tour exemption last weekend, but hopefully things will go well for him in the Spanish Open in Madrid this weekend as well. So we've always been impressed when we've had him on the podcast. He's such a level-headed young man. He's so impressive. He's so impressive off the course, but he's so impressive on the course as well. So brilliant to see a West Cork man up in that leaderboard.
Yeah, and I think just one more point to make, because we obviously referenced his double bogey on the 9th, which kind of pushed him out of contention. But what didn't happen after that was he didn't fall away. He regrouped and he continued to play outstanding golf for the rest of his round. So if you think about the really low level amateur golfers, you hit one bad shot, your day is over. So I know I don't want to compare like low level amateur golfers to the top professionals, but to have that mindset to just leave it behind him, walk to the next hole, forget about it and go about his business. He didn't let it get on top of him like a more inexperienced or less, mentally strong golfer would. He drove on and he continued to play some of the best golf he's probably played in his life to date, and he secured that top 10 finish. So just so impressive, brilliant to see, and hopefully we'll have him on the podcast in the next few weeks when he's had some time to reflect and we can catch up and chat about what was probably his best day as an athlete to date. So we look forward to speaking to John about that. But let's take a quick break here, and coming up next we're going to talk to Johnny Beamish Cup Kelly.
We all have dreams, but dreams by their very nature can be difficult to achieve. That's where Access Credit Union comes in. Whether it's going to college, owning a car, or building your dream home, your local credit union can help you to fulfill your dreams. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
For anyone who has ever played soccer in West Cork, the Beamish Cup is always the most sought after of trophies. And our next guest, Johnny Beamish Cup Kelly, has got his hands on the trophy a remarkable 4 times, including a 3 in a row. He even scored the winning goal in last season's final victory over Clonakilty. And Kieran, he's going to be picking up another award for his efforts this week.
Johnny's picking up a Celtic Ross Hotel West Cork Sports Star of the Month award for his crucial and significant and leading role when Dunmanway Town won the Beamish Cup during the summer. Like you said there, he's the Dunmanway Town captain who scored a winning goal 2 minutes from time against Clonakilty at Turner's Cross. So it's right over stuff, it really is, when it works out like that. And Johnny Kelly knows how to win a Beamish Cup. If you want to win a Beamish Cup, to all the West Cork League teams out there, get Johnny Kelly in your team, because he now has won 4 Beamish Cups. That's 2 with Toger and 2 with Dunmanway Town, and he's a 3 in a row under his belt as well. But this is he's not just a dual star. What do you call it when a fella is good at all sports? He's an all-round multi-talented athlete, because he's also captain of the Dohenys footballers that are going well in the Senior A Football Championship. They beat Skibbereen in their last outing, and they're now in with a shout of qualifying for the knockout stages. And Johnny is also on the Dohenys hurling team that is in Carbery Junior A hurling semi-final action against Ballinascarty this weekend, and the winner of the Dohenys Ball game will play Mary's in the final. So these are busy times for Johnny Kelly, but he still made time in his packed diary to accept, or he will be making time to accept his Sports Star award that's on Wednesday night at the Celtic Ross Hotel. But when I caught up with him recently, Jack, we started off talking about football, because Dohenys' victory over Donovan Ross has really opened up this group in the Senior A Football Championship. That's a group that also includes Ballingeary and Bandon. So heading into the final round on October 17th, all 4 of those clubs have a chance of qualifying for the knockout stages. So Johnny and Dohenys, they have their fate and their destiny in their own hands. If they go out and they beat Bandon, they're through to the knockout stages. So that's when I caught up with Johnny, it was football first. These are very busy times for Dohenys in hurling and football, and we're delighted now to be joined on the podcast by Johnny Kelly, captain of the Dohenys footballers. Like I mentioned, Johnny, hugely busy time at the moment, and I know in junior hurling you've a Carbery semi-final this weekend, but I want to talk football first, because the weekend before last, Dohenys blew the West Cork group of death in the Senior A football wide open. We need a fantastic win against Skibbereen. It's really left you with a great shot now of getting to the knockout stages. But take me back to the game against Skib, because you were coming off the back of a loss to Ballingeary where things didn't really go too well for you. So what changed between the Ballingeary game and the Skib game?
Well, we kind of stayed out, we planned well during the week. I think the hurling really helped us. I think that way gave us a bit of momentum going into the game. We were underdogs as well against Clonakilty in the hurling. We kind of went out and we gave a good display there, and determination, and we gave good effort, and we needed to bring that to the football. And I think that was a difference from the Ballingeary game to the Skib game. I think we upped the intensity, and we had something like, I think Declan Dwyer, the manager, said that we had 13 turnovers by half time. I think that just showed the work rate that we were getting through. I think, and that was one of the main factors, I think, for the result against Skib, I'd say, and the change from the Ballingeary game.
Because that is a big win. It was 17 points to 11. You beat Skib by, and it's almost a statement of intent, because you've just put yourself really back into contention in that group now. So going into the last game against Bandon, that's October 17th in Iskeen, you've really given yourself a good shot at getting out of the group, because you know what you need to do. If you beat Bandon, as far as I know, that's it. You'll go through to the knockout stages.
Yeah, it's back to classic straight knockout football now, really. Well, we knew the last 2 games after losing to Ballingeary. We knew that they were must-win games for us, so a draw or anything else won't do, so it has to be a win. I think that's probably suit us better, knowing that we have to win. We're probably going to be underdogs again against Bandon. We played them in the semi-final of the league this year, and they beat us well. And I think the underdog tag sits better with us than being favourites, I think, personally. And I think we're heading in good spirits now. We're heading into the Bandon game, and hopefully the hurling again next weekend can help again, like another stepping stone as well, and we keep the momentum going.
Did you surprise yourself in some way with the performance against Skib? Like, it was such a good win, and like I said, coming off the back of a performance against Ballingeary, which you probably weren't happy with, but then to turn in that performance, get that win, and you're probably you're hopping now off the ground. Did you, when you finished up afterwards, you were like, Jesus lads, if we can do this every day, look what we can do.
Yeah, I suppose. Jesus, after half time there, we kicked, the 3 or 4 unanswered scores. First half was a bit slow, and there was 5 points to 5, and we I'd say they were more shell shocked. I'd say after the half-time whistle more than anything when we kicked the scores. Our forwards really clicked into gear, and our backs, like everyone, just everything just clicked in, and we were. So we played very well, I think. And Skib I think we're in shock, to be honest. I'd say of how good we actually played because of the result against Ballingeary, and they weren't expecting us to come out like that. So it was great for the club, and it's great for everyone involved, because we've put in so much effort. We've been training since a lockdown, but running out on the road and doing our own little pieces, and so it's great to get something back. And I think it's our first win in 3 or 4 years in Championship. So last year we had 2 draws and a loss. So it's so we're delighted. Everyone's delighted. Everyone involved.
I was looking, Johnny, at that Group A, the Senior A football, like, and of the 4 teams there, like, any 2 can still go through. So Bandon are on top with 3 points. Then you've Ballingeary and Dohenys with 2 points each, and then Skib are in 4th place at 1 point. But the way the games work out in the final round, any 2 can still go through. So the fact that like we just said earlier, like, you have your destiny in your own hands, you know what you need to do to get to the knockout stages. Like, that's probably the ideal place to be going into the final round of games.
100%. Once it's in our own hands, that's all you can ask for, really, going to the last game. We'll prepare now as much as we can for Bandon, and like I said, we know what they're about, and they know what we're about, and hopefully we'll have enough to win that last game and to get through into the knockout stages. You're
captain of the Dohenys football team this year. How did that come about?
I don't know, to be honest. I was as surprised as most people, I think, but we're a fairly young team. I'd probably be one of the oldest players on the team, and I'm only 25, so that kind of shows what kind of team we have. And I was honoured, really, to be asked to be captain, and I don't really know how it came about or how they decided it, but I'll accept it and I'll take it anyway.
They probably saw your heroics with Dunmanway Town in the last season, kind of scoring the winning goal in the Beamish Cup final at Turner's Cross against Clonakilty. We'll actually turn to that for a second while I brought it up before we go back to the hurling. Jesus, what a season again for Dunmanway Town in the last campaign. What was that like to score the winning goal in the Beamish Cup final with minutes to go up at Turner's Cross? Like, that's right over stuff.
It was unbelievable. The day was so warm as well. I actually think I was up there because I was so tired, to be honest. I just found myself up alongside the last man, and I think we turned over the ball, and there was a great ball through, and I just had one thing in my head was to get it on target, and thankfully it just went in. But Jesus, it was probably one of the best days I've had playing in any sport so far. Anyway, my family and everyone up in the stadium, it was a great feeling, and just all the boys were delighted, and it was a great result for us. Yeah.
If any team wants to hope to win the Beamish Cup, they need to talk to you, because your record in that competition is phenomenal. I think you've won it 4 times now, the last 3 Beamish Cups in a row. So what's the secret, Johnny? How do you win a Beamish Cup?
You're asking. I don't have a clue. No, like we obviously have a very good team with the men. We're most lads playing football or playing soccer as well, so we're obviously close. Yeah, we're very good. We're a very good team there at the moment, and Andrew Healy and Conor White and Noel Donovan are very good behind the scenes, to keep the show going. And if you just all stick together and put your head down, you're obviously going to go far in any competition that you enter if you put in enough work. So I think work and having good people around you, I think, is very important for to win this. Like, I didn't win these on my own. Like, people have to remember that too. That it takes teams, and that tour team in 2019 was all about teamwork. We didn't really have any standout individuals, but we worked very hard together, and we managed to win the Beamish Cup that year as well.
It's a good time now to reveal as well. It's a big reveal on the podcast that Johnny Kelly's picking up at Celtic Ross Hotel, West Cork Sports Star of the Month Award this week. There'll be a special presentation at the Celtic Ross Hotel in Rosscarbery on Wednesday night. So that's a lovely accolade to get, Johnny. Obviously, as captain of the Dunmanway Town team that won the Beamish Cup, does that just kind of add to that moment, the fact that you're picking up this monthly award?
Oh, I was shocked, to be honest, when I got the phone call, but I'm honoured to be receiving the award. But like I said a while ago, I obviously couldn't win the trophies without my teammates and without everyone around me. But I'll be honoured to accept the award, and I'm very thankful for whoever nominated me and the Celtic Ross and C103 as well for the award.
I just have to point out as well, the last couple of monthly presentations over the last couple of weeks, right? We've had Emily Hegarty, an Olympic bronze medalist.
I was looking at them, yeah. Yeah,
we've had Phil Healy, an Olympian, who was the first Irish woman to compete in 3 track and field events at the same Olympics. Just last week, we'd Fintan McCarthy, an Olympic gold medalist and world road champion. And now we've Johnny Kelly next up, who is the Dunmanway Town captain and the cup-winning hero. So you're in fine company, Johnny.
I'd say you're fairly stuck to find someone to give the award to. I was looking back I was only saying it to my girlfriend, I was saying, like, the people that won it before me, that they're all Olympians and that the gold medals come in, and then there's little old me come in with the 3 Beamish Cups. But no, it's an honour, especially when you see the people that have won it before me as well.
You'll be able to walk into the Dohenys dressing room this weekend for your Carby Junior hurling semi-final. You'll be able to say, lads, look at this, look, I'm hanging out with these Olympians. That's a company.
Yeah,
I mean.
Yeah.
But look, so we'll turn it to hurling now, because it's Clon and Bell in the Carby Junior A hurling semi-final this weekend. Clon had a super win the last round. You dethroned Clonakilty, so much like beating Skib in the football after beating Clon in the hurling. Are you can't wait now to play the next game, I presume?
Oh yeah, we're buzzing. Last year we were very close to Clan. I think it was a point. I think Blow and Bandon, and they went on to win it. So we knew how close we were. This year, look, when we always play Clan, it's always a very tight game. We kind of we dig in a bit more, I think, against Clan, because we played them so much underage and stuff. And we did the same thing today, or we did the same thing that weekend. We dug in, and I'd say it was just effort and determination more than anything really got us over the line, and it was a great win. And like I said, it kick-started us for the football as well, and hopefully we can keep going now and do with the hurling and the football, and get 2 more wins and get into the last few stages of the both competition.
I was just reading the match report from the quarter-final against Clan, and Bill Murphy obviously took the headlines. He got 13 points that day, but it seemed just a really solid Dohenys performance all over the field. And it had to be to beat a very good Clan team that has the whites and so on. So you needed to bring your A game that day, and you did.
We did, yeah. Like, everyone had a job, and we stuck to a plan. Fairness managers and the selectors, they kind of gave us a plan when we went out, and everyone stuck to it. I know Bill scored, was it 12 or 13 points something. He's a super hurler, and it's the other fellas have to do the work to get the ball to Bill too. And people, they don't get the headlines, but everyone went out and they had their job, they did their job, and I think that was the most important thing that day.
Was that a challenge you expecting off Bell this Sunday?
Yeah, sure. Bell are all going to be, and they're all going to get stuck in. They're a bit physical as well. Look, we know it's junior hurling is wide open. I think the hurling championship every year, it's very competitive grade. We'll be up against Bell, but hopefully if we have the same determination and the same grit we did against Clan, that we can get a result.
Cora Keane on the podcast there a couple of weeks ago, we were chatting about Newcestown, obviously at senior level there. They juggle the senior hurling and the senior football for Dohenys, and there is an overlap of players between the hurling and the football. How do you juggle that then? How do you manage both codes?
Well, to be fair, they agree. In the week coming now it'll be hurling, and the week after then it'll be football. So they have a good enough relationship that way that they speak to each other, and they don't. The last thing you want is players overload, and injuries. So they're working out very well, in fairness to them.
And when things work like they are now, like the momentum that can create, if the hurling's going well, it rolled over into the football against Skib that day. So you're hoping now it rolls in again against Bell this Sunday, and then into the game against Bandon. So it really does. If you get a bit of momentum, bit of head of steam, like kind of, who knows where this is going to end up.
Exactly. Like, so we're only one game away from a junior A hurling final, and as well, we have to look at the Bandon game as well as kind of a final, I suppose, in the group. We have to, it's a must win, and it's very important for us to win the game. So if we just keep the momentum going and keep lads fit, I suppose is another important thing with the two codes, is to keep lads fit. I say we'd have a good chance of going a good distance in both competitions, I think.
You mentioned it earlier, Johnny, like you're only 25, but you're always clashing yourself as one of the elder statesmen of the Dohenys team. Like, having that young blood coming up was so important to the club, because you've seen over the years so many lads have immigrated from Dunmanway. There's a lower down in Australia at the moment and so on, and you've lost some kind of, I suppose, more experienced players in that sense. But do you feel that this new crop coming through, that they can just ignite and spark maybe just a bit of success for the club over the next couple of years?
Definitely, yeah. We're this group now. Actually, we won the under-21 West Cork A. I'm not sure. I think it's 2017. I think. We beat Kinsale in the final, and a good chunk of that team is on the senior team now. So, we're kind of getting into the ages now. 27, 28 is kind of, I suppose, where lads will be peaking most. When we have that bit more cuteness at the senior level of stuff, a bit more experience. So hopefully next few years we can kick on another few steps. And like when we did go down into senior A from senior, we thought we'd have a good chance, and we were kind of knocked back a bit last year. But as you've seen last weekend, now we're progressing and at a very good win against Skib. So hopefully we can keep it going.
And just back to soccer for a second, I know the West Cork League is up and running. But do you almost have to park the soccer now for the next couple of weeks and just focus on the hurling and the football? Because, or can you possibly juggle the three of them, or is it just too much at the moment?
Well, the league will be starting now on the same weekend as the football, so the soccer will probably have the first game anyway. Will probably have to, being the football such an important game, you probably have to give that a skip. But you try your best to juggle the three of them as much as you can. As long as you're not killing yourself and overtiring yourself. I think lads are cute enough in their own head anyway. They know what they can and can't do. So, no one's putting too much pressure on us to pick one over the other. So that's a good thing.
Like you said, they're like trying to juggle all the codes. You're well able for that. You proved it over the years. And talk about juggling, it always brings us on to talents. And Tim Buckley, when we were setting up this interview, Tim Buckley, we all know Tim Carby manager, Dunmanway, he told me that to ask Johnny to play the spoons, but it turns out that Tim was just Tim was trying to set Johnny up for a bit of a fall. So do we know any talents about Tim Buckley? I've heard he's going to do the spoons in Ireland's Got Talent. Is there any truth in that around Dunmanway?
Well, whenever we go over to Tim's house, he brings out a mic stand with no lead in it, but his mic stand is there, and he puts a hat on everyone's head. So I think if we can get Tim on the podcast, he might sing a song, I think
we'll have to arrange that. So if anyone's around Dunmanway these next couple of days, just ask Tim Buckley what his favourite hit is, and we'll get him on the podcast soon to serenade us all with that. But thanks very much, Johnny, for coming on the podcast. Best of luck against Band this weekend, and best of luck against Band in the following weekend.
Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you.
We all have dreams, but dreams by their very nature can be difficult to achieve. That's where Access Credit Union comes in. Whether it's going to college, owning a car, or building your dream home, your local credit union can help you to fulfill your dreams. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Welcome back to the Star Sport podcast, and before we wrap things up, we're going to quickly preview this week's Southern Star Sports section. But before we do that, I just want to flag one other piece of housekeeping. That is that the newest episode of The Big Story is out now. It's called Rory Gallagher, the Lee Delta Bluesman. So if you have any interest in probably Ireland's greatest ever guitarist, one of the world's greatest ever guitarist, Cork's Rory Gallagher, or if you have any interest in music or Irish music at all, this is the podcast for you. It's available on the Southern Stars YouTube channel, it's available on Spotify, it's available on Apple Podcasts, and it's available on southernstar.ie right now. It's something I made with our colleague Niall O'Driscoll and features insights from Rory's brother Donal. It features insights from Philip King, the man behind the brilliant Other Voices programme on RTE, and it features insights from retired Southern Star editor Con Downing, who's a lifelong fan of Rory and a former entertainment columnist and radio DJ from around the time that Rory was still performing on the Cork and Irish music scene. So that's just one I wanted to flag. Keep an eye out for it. Give us a like, share, subscribe, whatever. Just give it a thumbs up so I can get more money to make more of those big story episodes. But Kieran, anyway, that's enough guff from me about that. Now it's your chance to plug this week's Southern Star sports section.
Yeah, loads going on as usual in this week's Southern Star Sports. It's packed. And again, with the GA so busy at the moment, it's no surprise it's a GA-dominated Sports Star section. The Kilbree Camogie team won the County Junior C Camogie final last weekend, so congrats to them, and we've a report on that. At the senior level, Inniskeen and Carbery both bowed out of the Senior Camogie Championship. So we've reports and pictures from both games and a roundup of the County Senior Camogie action. We also have all the latest from the Cork Ladies Football Championships, from senior right down to junior, where a lot of West Cork teams are involved as well. So check out this week's Star for an update on how those West Cork clubs are keeping. In the Carbery scene, like I mentioned earlier, Newcestown lost to St. Mary's in the Carbery Junior Hurling A semi-final. So the Marys are back in their second successive final. They lost to Clonakilty last year's decider, so they're hoping to go one step further. And what was so impressive about their win against Newcestown last weekend is they did it without Jason Collins, who is their leading scorer. So that's I think a good sign for Marys that they won that game without Jason Collins. There's also all the action from the Carbery Junior A Football Championship, where there were 4 round 3 games last weekend. So we now have a lot more knowledge, or a lot rounder knowledge of the quarterfinal lineup for the Junior A. We also have an interview with Fintan McCarthy, the Olympic gold medalist rower, who picked up a Celtic Ross West Cork Sports Star Award last week. And Fintan is chatting about life after the Olympics, and he admits he's had some post-Olympic blues, where he's had some down days after the games, but he's keeping himself busy. He's heading back to college in UCC, and he's back training as well. And his hope is to get back to the Olympic stage in Paris in 2024. And Jack, that man Paul Donovan was back in cross-country action again last weekend. I'm not sure where Royal Ireland starting to get worried now. Is that 2 weekends in a row where Paul Donovan, the world's greatest lightweight rower, has been in cross-country action? And this time it was at the senior event, the big senior event in the cross-country calendar, and Paul did quite well. So you can check out this Thursday Southern Star for more. Just
on that briefly, Kieran, because I saw Paul finished, was it 28th or 29th this week? So extremely impressive, because he's obviously up against top-class athletes. But imagine if you were the 31st or 32nd runner, how driven you would be to try and get past him just so you could finish up. Because even if you finished 28, your friends mightn't be that impressed by your performance over the weekend. How'd you get on into cross countries? Oh, I finished 28, and they'd say, that wasn't great, was it? Yes, but I finished ahead of an Olympic gold medalist in the cross country championship. So any cross country runners out there, if you're looking for a little bit of extra inspiration this week, imagine finishing ahead of an Olympic gold medalist. If that's not inspiration enough, I don't know what is, Kieran.
And just for listeners, his time, if this is a 10-kilometre distance in Carrick-Drogheda, and it's cross-country, right, so it's not flat, but 39 minutes and 20 seconds for a 10K distance.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty fast. That's pretty fast for a fella only running his second ever cross-country event, and he's first at this distance in Lee Vale's colours. So if you can run faster than 39 minutes and 20 seconds for 10K, you're faster than an Olympic gold medalist. So that's something maybe to brag to your mates about. So hit the roads around West Cork this weekend and see how you get on. But yeah, there's loads in this week's Southern Star. The Southeast Junior A hurling final was on. Ballymart won that. Mid Cork in the Junior A hurling is progressing quite quickly. We're down to the semi-finals there. So there's loads going on. Pack 24. So my advice on Thursday, go out and buy the Southern Star, because super value for money.
Lovely stuff, Kieran. Well, let's leave it there for this week. Thanks for listening to the Star Sport podcast. We'll be back at the same time next week, hopefully. If you enjoy these shows, please make sure to rate, review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Slán Tamil.